Welcome to our Easter special. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to Burnout Solutions. My name is Mona Tippett. I am a registered nurse, a life coach, an emotional resiliency expert, and a mom. I love to help healthcare workers and caretakers and just busy, capable people understand their brain and nervous system so stress, overwhelm, and frustration do not run their life. Here on this podcast, we break down burnout, emotional overload, and survival patterns in simple human language. I love to give you practical ways to feel safer, calmer, and more present in your everyday life. You do not need fixing. What you need is support and a nervous system that knows that it's safe. Thanks for being here. Today, I am doing an Easter special. And I have been thinking about this for quite a while. God has told me that I should do something about my belief in Jesus Christ and that I should do it for Easter. So here we go. I am trying to follow that thought and just share what I have learned about the nervous system and overcoming my humanness and my belief in the importance of Jesus Christ and his atonement. And I am a religious person. I take my relationship with Jesus Christ seriously. And with my history of my life, I have always known about God and known of him being my father and Jesus Christ as being my brother and somebody who came to save me. However, because I've lived in fight or flight for so much of my life, I have had a lot of shame, a lot of not measuring up, a lot of feeling like I am not enough, essentially. And a lot of my clients have some of those same feelings with thinking about the gap of who they are and who they want to be. And as I have learned about the nervous system and our humanness, it has helped me see things from a different lens. And that is what I want to talk about today. I really do believe, and if you've listened to any of these podcasts, you know that I work with high achievers. They fall into the trap that more productivity, more goals, more money, more perfection will turn you into a better person. However, I believe that it is good to uplevel ourselves and to become a better version of ourselves, but it's not necessary. I do believe that we were born with inherent value, and regardless of what we do, that value doesn't change. Now, if that is the truth, then why do we want to be better, and how do we create a better life, and why would we want to? And I truly do believe that we were given the gift of agency. So let's talk about that for a minute. I believe that we were sent to earth to create a life. And God said, I will let you do whatever you want. However, if you want the most happiness, the most peace, these are some guidelines that you can follow. And some people see those guidelines as restrictions. I don't. Jesus Christ came to earth to model good behavior. He modeled being regulated. He modeled how to love those who persecuted him, how to love those who crucified him, how to love those who treated him poorly. He modeled how to hold boundaries. He modeled how to treat other people with respect and dignity, regardless of the circumstance. Now, often high achievers fall into that trap that doing more, becoming more, having more, which our culture really supports, will make us better. And those motivations are driven through fear. And when we are driven through fear or shame or comparison or wanting to do things better because of fear of our own judgment, often fear of our own judgment or other people's judgment, it puts us in dysregulation. And that is the trap that I fell into for so many years. And it was really hard for me to believe to my core that regardless of what I did, my value didn't change, even though part of me really did believe that. I mean, I was taught that, but I didn't believe it deep down. And now I help high achievers understand that we create a life that we want to, and there are lots of guidelines to help us create a better life, and that involves staying regulated. And through learning about my nervous system and my regulation, I've learned that our amygdala hijacks our prefrontal cortex often, and we operate out of emotion and out of the limbic area of our brain, which drives behaviors that often we regret. Often we look back and think, what were we doing? But when I learned that it is our pathophysiology that is driving that, and we really are not operating out of our best selves, out of our best intentions, out of our core values, it has just helped me become much more compassionate for myself and for other people, and understanding that they too get hijacked. And I talk about this with my clients a lot, that you are doing the best that you can at any moment. And for me, that has helped me just have so much compassion for myself and others, like I've said. So with Easter and this Easter season, and thinking about the atonement of Jesus Christ, thinking about who he was and who he can help me to be, I believe that he has an enabling power that can help us if we develop a relationship with him. It can help us become who we are supposed to be and our potential that God knows that we can be. And I love this metaphor that I heard with Belgium horses. Now, a single Belgium horse can pull about 4,000 pounds. So you would think that maybe 2 Belgian horses could pull 8,000 pounds. But it turns out that when you put 2 Belgian horses together, they can pull closer to 16,000 pounds. Now, why is that? It's because they are yoked together. And in the scriptures, it says to yoke yourself with Jesus Christ. He says, take my yoke upon you and feel of my rest. And I love that metaphor because with Belgium horses, they have found that when horses live together, when they eat together, when they run around in the pasture together, when they start to build a relationship together, that when they work together, they can pull up to 32,000 pounds together, just 2 horses. So they more than double what they can pull because they know each other. The world record of 2 Belgium horses pulling weight were 2 brothers, and they pulled 52,000 pounds together. And these 2 horses being able to pull that much weight together, they decided was because their relationship with each other. They knew each other. They spent so much time together, and they ate together. They had grown up together, and that time together with knowing each other and being so close with each other gave them the power to pull anything. And I love that analogy. I love thinking and picturing myself working and developing on my relationship with Jesus Christ and leaning into his strength to help me. And I've also thought so much about, why did God give us a human body with our brain and nervous system when he knew that we would get hijacked, when he knew that we would do things that we regret, when he knew that we would do things that are quote unquote stupid. And the more I think about it, the more I realize it is because he wants us to rely on him. He wants us to submit. He wants us to follow him. He wants us to realize that there is a better way than our way. And that is my belief, that because of these human weaknesses, they're not always sins. I mean, we do things that we do regret later because when we are hijacked, but because of our humanness, we need to rely on Jesus Christ more. And when we yoke ourselves with Jesus Christ, because of his greatness, because of his godness, because of our relationship and spending time with him and our relationship with him, we can accomplish so much more in our life. And I love that. And I think about that often. And I'm very far from perfect, very far from perfect, but I am just grateful, so grateful, especially at Easter. So I am trying to incorporate that into my life with spending time in my scriptures every day. I pray every day. I worship. I really do try and develop that relationship with Jesus Christ because I want his power in me. And that is why I'm so thankful for Easter. That is why I'm so thankful for his atonement. That is why I'm so grateful for his gospel in my life. Now that I'm a regulated person, I can feel his spirit with me so much more. I rely on him more. I feel safer with him because I have more compassion on myself and I'm not judging myself and thinking that he is judging me like that, because he's not, and he never was. It's just my perception that has changed. And I'm grateful that I've learned all of this about the nervous system. I'm grateful that life through a different lens, I'm telling you, regulation changes everything. And I want you to understand that. And I hope that helps you understand other people in your life, whether they see things differently than you. You know, we all approach life through our own perspective. And often that perspective isn't chosen. It's just our lived experience that puts that lens on us. So this Easter season, I really am grateful and thankful that Jesus Christ atoned for me to save me from my spiritual death, to save me from my physical death. I am thankful to understand my human body and brain even better. I am grateful, and I believe that the best life is regulation. So how can you become more regulated and yoke yourself with Christ at the same time? Well, spend time meditating in prayer. Spend time reading his words in the scriptures. Spend time out in nature. Spend time feeding your spirit, giving your spirit things that it needs. Spend time loving those around you, forgiving those around you, and understanding their humanness. Forgive yourself for your own humanness and stop judging yourself. I find high achievers especially tend to be very critical of themselves and see themselves in that gap from where they are and where they want to be. And yeah, I hope that you learned something and felt something from this Easter message. And I'll see you next week. Back to our usual episode.